Hello everybody and welcome to the barbecue shop here at Hayes Garden World. As always, we're joined by top barbecue chef, Mr. Richard Holden.
Hi folks.
And in this video, my choice.
Your choice.
We're going to be making a chicken liver pate using a Traeger Timberline 850.
So really simple for chicken liver pate, really nice, beautiful alternative Christmas starter maybe for the table. We've got our chicken livers obviously, but before that we need to, in the skillet, we need to melt some butter and then sweat off some finely diced onions. We've got a selection of finely chopped herbs here. We've got some rosemary, some thyme and some oregano. And then we've got a couple of cloves of garlic just finely diced, or if you have one of those microplanes or a garlic crush, that will work just as well. And that's it, that's all of our ingredients. The only piece of equipment that we need is our blender, because once this has all been cooked on the skillet in the Traeger, we then blend it to get it that nice silky smooth texture that we need before we pop it into our ramekins. So that's really simple, couldn't be easier. Right, so we've got our Traeger set up for 240, nice hot temperature. We've also, on the Timberline, we've got the option of lowering the bottom cooking grate right down, put that skillet on there, and that gets us really close to the fire pot in the bottom and the heat distribution system, so we can get that skillet really, really hot, which is important for this dish. So could you do me a favour, just pop that butter into the skillet, and we'll just pop that on. You can, got a good sizzle going on there. It's really important to preheat this for about 10 minutes before we start to cook. Now that that's on there, let's get the rest of those ingredients in, so just pop those in. Melted butter smells amazing. Just going to put that one out there. Right, let's just tumble those around, make sure that that's nice and coated. If in doubt, give it a shimmy. Pop the lid down. We'll leave that for a couple of minutes, just let that soften, do its thing. Keep the heat in the barbecue, don't be lifting the lid open and working with the barbecue lid open, because you're just going to let all that heat disappear. So we'll leave that for a couple of minutes. There's enough butter in there that they're not going to burn, and we'll come back. Right, so we've had 2-3 minutes. We've got a good sizzle on our onions and the herbs. Can you just pour me the chicken livers into here? Clean those in. Now, one thing that I have done with these chicken livers is I've just prepared them, or you can have your butcher do this. I've just prepared them by making sure, and we're going to season as well, just prepare them by making sure that any little visible little bits of fat or any kind of tubes inside, just on the exterior of the chicken livers, make sure that they're cut away before you start cooking these. Nice generous pinch of salt. Now, one of the tips when seasoning things that are going to be served cold is to over season, because as you cool food, the seasoning diminishes. So you actually want, when we finish this dish, when we've got this in the food processor in a moment or two, we actually want it to taste a little bit salty and a little bit peppery. Let's just put a little bit more pepper in there, because as it cools, those flavors will dull. So we want, it will balance itself out. If you don't, if it tastes perfect, that's perfect. If it tastes spot on when it's at a high temperature, then by the time that has cooled, it will be quite bland. So over season at this point, ever so slightly. Leave those on there. We're going to cook those for about, I think, about 3-4 minutes, and then we'll take them out and we'll pop them into the food processor. Right, let's have a look at our chicken livers. Now, I have used a temperature probe on these to make sure that they're not too overcooked. Just taken those to about 64, 65 internal temperature. So if you want to bring that food processor over, this is where everything hopefully goes in here. Yeah. So you want to get all that flavor. I'm going to switch to a little silicone spatula. That smells amazing, doesn't it?
It does, yes.
You could make this a couple of days before Christmas, or whenever it is you're wanting to serve this. So that just goes in there, and then we're going to give that a blitz. So let's have a look at that. Look at, oh, that smells amazing. Now, one thing that makes chicken liver pate taste so good is clarified butter. So if you're in a large food processor, you could pour this in through the spout as you're running the unit. I'm going to say there's about 75 mils in there. If you pop that lid back on, give that a blitz. This is for texture consistency. caught the clarified butter. Let's just try a little bit more in there as well. Gone beautifully smooth. I'm not sure if you can get a close-up on that, but just add a little bit more. Just clarified butter, just stick of butter in a saucepan on a low heat. Just let it melt. All the solids will sink to the bottom, and you just want the top part of the butter. Let's just have a. That is looking pretty bob on.
That's good.
Let's just have a. Can we get a close up on the texture of that, Adrian? Just lovely and smooth, nice and silky. And what we need to do at this point, very importantly, is have a taste. So there's a spoon there for you. That's pretty good.
Pretty
Can you
good.
imagine that with some Melba toast on Christmas?
Yep.
On whenever, any day of the week, really.
More?
That is what I would say the perfect taste. Hang on a second. That's the perfect taste to serve at that temperature. But as I just mentioned earlier on, we're going to over season this so that it's slightly salty.
More pepper?
So we're just going to add a little bit more. Yeah, more pepper. I quite like pepper in my
I do too.
pate, so we are going to load this a little bit with pepper. Give that a blitz down, just to mix that all through. Now I've got a clean spoon. Or actually, I can go back to my spatula, can't I? No, we'll do spoon. That looks pretty bob on. So we have our ramekins here. I'll just transfer this in.
What a lot of people might not realise is that chicken livers from the butchers, they're relatively cheap.
Really cheap.
You could even throw in some wild mushrooms into the mix if you wanted to, make it a chicken and wild mushroom. That's one of my favourites.
Chicken and mushroom, you could put a little bit of port in there as well.
Yeah.
You might put some Madeira.
Yeah. Oh.
You could put some cognac, maybe? I don't know. You could just have a play around, give you an excuse to grab something for the drinks cabinet on Christmas. So this, if I take that blade out, we should be able to get 4 out of here. And then just to finish this off, what you would do, smooth these over, leave a little bit of space in the top, and then pop some more butter in a saucepan onto clarify. And then once these dishes have cooled, I'm going to save that for us to have a little bit of a taste after the video's finished. What you would then do is, once these have cooled and gone firm, is just pour a little layer of that butter, that clarified butter, over the top, just to seal it in. And if you want it to be a little bit decorative, take some small bay leaves and a few mixed colour peppercorns. And when you pour that clarified butter on, before you do so, just place a little bay leaf on each one, put a little sprinkle of multicoloured peppercorns, and then pour your clarified butter on the top, and that will set inside the butter. And when I have pate, there's generally some butter, so that little bit of butter, we all know what to do with pate. A little bit of butter on the Melba toast, pate on top, good to go. But they smell fantastic.
They do. So if you'd like the recipe for this dish, visit the website haysgardenworld.co.uk, or pop into the barbecue shop here at the garden centre, and our staff will be happy to advise you on how to cook any of the dishes we do in our videos. And I think all that's left really for us to say is Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, folks.
And we'll see you again next time.